doing. More than just another chick band. There was a story with Warping, right? I'll show you the chick, right? Not her. This chick, right? She used to date. She was John Frusciante's girlfriend. John Frusciante, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's how they got noticed. And in fact, the first drummer of his band was actually the current guitar player for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I forget his name. It's not John Frusciante. Anyway, Warping. I like it. 2016. Nice guitars. I don't think it's monotonous. Martin says it. I think it's, I don't know. I think it's less monotonous than a 2.5 minute pop song. It's atmospheric, you know. So anyway. Mark's Conte reporting. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. New York is still here, right? You heard? Have you heard? We're in the coronavirus, the epicenter. I am in the epicenter of the corona bug, the coronavirus. What a time to be alive in New York, but I can't seem to find it, man. I don't see the suffering. In fact, yesterday I think I had a revelation. I think I had an aha moment, right? You know, when wrong, promptly admit it. I thought people were walking around. I've been saying all along, people were angry and pissed off and want to fucking kill you and scared walking around. And it turns out that something clicked, something broke, that they're actually enjoying themselves. They're actually relaxing, right? I interviewed a bunch of people. You remember that young kid yesterday I interviewed in the park? He said they're not being cunts. Just stop being cunts to each other. They stop antagonizing each other, right? Even though it's fun, but they stop doing it, right? People are being nice to each other. Is that a turning point? I think I hold true that is the story. That is the story of the pandemic. How are people we know the thing is a farce. We know that the death numbers are wildly inflated. We know the hospitals are, for the most part, not overwhelmed. The morgues are not full of dead bodies. There's not truckloads of dead bodies. We know all that stuff already. Now we move forward. You want to prove if it's a planned demic. I think it's starting to move in that direction. I think that it is. When you listen to people like Fauci and Bill Gates and all of the billionaire class, they seem to be headstrong they seem to have known about this. They seem to have known about it and have been planning it for a long time, right? And now, did Trump know about it? Probably not. Did they drop one on Trump? Did they pull a fast one on Trump and do a little bait and switch and give him a pandemic? I don't know. Is it released out of a laboratory? It looks like it was. It looks like it was manufactured in a laboratory. Now, I mean, the ultimate thing is was it a plan versus was it an accident? And I don't think accidents like that happen. You don't accidentally make a killer virus and it accidentally squeaks out the lab. So, I mean, the evidence is pointing towards, that it was in fact absolutely manufactured. And now, could it have been a plan? So, but besides all that, how are people being affected by it? Right? They're sitting home by the millions, Maybe not where you live, but certainly where I am in New York City, where people have been scared shit to come out of their homes. There's morgues on the corner. There's giant freezer trucks. There's cops beating people up for not, a few cops beating a few people up for not socially separating. So where I am, that shit is very real. There's still millions of people that are terrified of this thing, right? And at some point, they are going to have to integrate themselves back into society. Or do they? Are they having too good? What I sensed yesterday walking around, and I'll tell you more as I move on, that people were actually enjoying themselves. They were actually shamefully enjoying themselves. Like, you know what I mean? But we still don't know. We still don't know entirely what's behind the masks yet, and we'll do more of that. I'm just going to keep going with it. So while you're here, Marcus Conte reporting this is what I do, and this is my website, marcusconte.com. Kindly go over there and click around. If you notice, we're streaming live. That's why it takes me a few extra minutes to set it up, because I set up the stream and also it's live there. It's live on Twitter. It's live on Facebook right now. And, and here's a place where you could, throw a couple of dollars in the tip jar. You can join through Patreon. You can read some articles that I wrote, one so far, writing more, a book, and some pictures, and all the videos. All the videos are there. They're archived. And that's how we do it, man. That's how we do it. So thank you very much for the people that have become Patreons and see the value in this endeavor to be out there, to be out in the people. That's where I need to be right now. That's where I need to be. I know it now. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But right now, the time is not to film the empty streets anymore. We know the streets are empty. We know the hospitals are not overrun. We know that there isn't this overwhelming sickness plaguing the city and suffering all around you. We know all these things. The real problem is the financial devastation that this thing is doing. And based on no evidence, based on very, very circumstantial evidence to keep people away from each other. And what is the effect on the people themselves? What is that effect? Now, I speculated yesterday talking in the park and walking in the park that we may just be at a spiritual kind of aha, right? Where people collectively, now, yeah, I could be wrong about this, but I got a glimpse of it yesterday, I think. I was stopping random people. There's a lot more that I do than what you see in the videos. I'm talking to people all day long. I'm engaging them all day long, trying to find out what's in their mind. Like I stopped two tourists. They were walking around they weren't tourists. They weren't from New York, but they were walking around very slow and with the masks on, and I stopped them. I said, "It's fucking crazy, right?" And they both just stopped in their tracks and said, "I've never seen anything like this, right? Why is it so quiet?" And so it's like it's like a movie set where you deleted the people, and I talked to them, and that's the story right now, right? That's part of the story. So thanks for letting me ramble. So everybody, come on in. So just start off with a couple of stories. Let's do a little speed read the news. The FBI served. This is a side note. FBI served warrant on Senator Richard Burr over coronavirus-related stock sales. Oh, busted a little insider trading for you there. The FBI agents reportedly seized the cell phone of a North Carolina senator Wednesday as part of a Justice Department investigation into the lawmaker's eyebrow-raising stock trades at the start of the coronavirus. Time out. Most of trading on Wall Street, institutional trading, where big blocks of trades go off, where banks trade, most is insider trading. They have the politicians in their pocket. It's insider trading in terms of not just congressional leaks, but actual who is trading on Wall Street, who's positioning themselves to buy 5 million shares of stock XYZ at a certain moment. And if you have that information, you can place your bet and ride their momentum as they buy and drive the price up, right? That's all insider trading. And in this case, this is exactly what, not exactly, but Martha Stewart went to jail for this very, very thing. Now, this guy's a senator. He's a sitting senator. You think he's going to go to jail? Trump, what are they going to do? Is the DOJ, they'll start a war. They will start a war. This is a Republican. Let's read. Senator Richard Burr, North Carolina Republican, who chairs the Senate Intelligence Committee, handed over his phone to the agents, FBI agents, after they served him with a search warrant at his Washington area home, said an anonymous source. The Justice Department began probing Burr's stock transactions at the end of March to gauge whether he violated a law preventing members of Congress from trading on insider information they received while on their job. Burr sold 1.7 million of publicly traded stocks a week before the intensified spread of COVID-19 led the market to crash. All right, so if he traded a 1.7 million of his own, do you know how much he probably sold that information for? Because if he's gonna give a bank that has maybe 100 times that position or 1,000 times that position, maybe has a 700 or like close to 2 or 3 million shares of a stock, is very important. So whatever kickback, he sold his own, and he probably got a kickback to whoever he sold that information to. Happens all the time. But he got busted. Now, can they prove it? Can they prove a sitting senator, on the ethics committee? What is he? He's the intelligence committee, right? Can they prove that was insider trading? Probably not, but it is interesting to watch. And it is unprecedented in these times where a senator, an important person, could actually be held liable for a crime. If this were you or me or the guy next door or the guy trading his Apple, his Gmail account or his fucking, his Ameritrade account on his phone standing on the corner, you would have been in jail. You would have been in jail. You would have been gone if you took this information and traded on it. You would be locked up. Same cell as Martha Stewart. But, senators, different rules. Different rules for different folks, man. Good morning, everybody. Good morning and welcome to the greatest spectator sport in the world. Thank you, Bart McDowell, McDonald. I can't pronounce your name, man. I just can't get Bart McDonald. Bart McDonald. What's up, man? Good morning, everybody. I'm tired, man. I'm out on the street every day, man. Every day and every night. Angie TV, Vinny DiMartini in the house. Good morning, Vinny DiMartini. You know what? I'm tired right now, but once I get outside and I start talking to people, I come alive, man. I feel alive. I feel the life force enter again, where we're actually doing the work that needs to be done. Right? This is work too. This is important, right? Because this is the recap. This is the recap in the morning. We're looking at the shit. We're speed reading the news. We're trying to take the temperature on what the fuck is going on in the world, right? People, are they killing each other? Are they ready to? Are we heading towards a new cultural revolution like the '60s? Are we going to have a new cultural revolution, people? Is that what we're looking at? Because it's starting to feel that way on the street. It's starting to lean that way. There's a flavor of revolution, cultural revolution, where everybody just realizes, damn, I am fucking sick and tired of running around like a chicken without a head. Without anything to show for it and working my life away. I like sitting in the park and talking to people. This is fun. I like taking a peaceful stroll and not have to look at my watch. I don't see people looking at the time. They're walking slow, and New York is a great place to observe it. They're walking slow. There's no crime. There's very little pollution. There's no hostility on the streets whatsoever, except when I open my mouth. And that was 2 weeks ago, right? Things change. So now we're moving into a very peaceful time. I don't know. It's just it's trippy and hard to figure out, but that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep talking to people, man. We're gonna keep talking. So this guy's doing great work. I want to talk about Lincoln Carrum. Lincoln Carrum is a guy, is a dude on a bike that's driving around, and he's getting this footage. Look at this footage. This is the hospital across from Mount Sinai. Thank you for going up there for me. It's gone. I don't have to go there now. Thank you, Lincoln Kareem. If you're watching this, if anybody knows who Lincoln Kareem is, I'd love to talk to him, do an interview with him. I don't think anybody's talked to him yet. I'd like to be the first to talk to this guy. So he's been driving around. I cannot explain. This is brilliant. Listen to this. I cannot explain how this soon after the removal of a hospital which reportedly treated patients with a deadly contagious disease, that the Central Park Conservatory found it necessary to send a maintenance worker to crawl on the ground to pull up weeds. Ah, interesting, right? He's making some good observations. He's just there and he's watching, and he sees this guy pruning the fucking weeds. Right? I thought it was deadly fucking virus. It was a minute ago. Look, they still got the containers with the toxic waste. Right? Medical waste. What other kind of waste comes out of a hospital except hospital waste? Medical waste. And they got a guy crawling around on his knees. It doesn't seem too contagious to me. They don't seem too nervous. They do not seem to know. He's got his mask on. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Oh, he just touched his face with his glove on. He's picking his eyeball. He's contaminated, right? According to the rules. He just inoculated himself. But really, really good stuff. Thank you, Lincoln Kareem. I want to play all his stuff because I don't know who he is, right? He might fucking come over here and strike the shit out of me saying, motherfucker, don't be playing my shit, man. Don't be playing my shit. That's my shit. So I did this interview with this guy. I wanted to talk about this for a second. These kids are really fucking interesting, right? And you can watch it on your own. The link's down below. And I don't know if this is breaking an anonymity or what, but we had an off the record talk, right? And I tell you myself, right, that I believe I had coronavirus. I had it at the end of January, and both of these two folks also said it. He didn't say it in the interview, but he said I had it in the beginning of February, and the girl says she had it in January as well. And then we talked about the symptoms. We talked about we had the exact same symptoms, the high fever, the aches and pains, the cold sweats, the cough where you felt like sand, like there was sand in the back of your throat, and something was coming loose. This sense of coughing up your own flesh or something. That was the sensation. I couldn't put my finger on it. And also I confirmed the hallucinogenic dreams that I had said a long time ago, that these weird kind of fucking dreams. It was a flu like no other, is the point. Was it debilitating? Was it strong? Yeah, the first night or two I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe because I was coughing so much, right? But I'm in shape because I run and I was able to muscle through it. But the same exact symptoms. All three of us had the identical symptoms here in New York City. And it's very possible that we're all immune. I'm immune. I probably 98.9% chance of immunity, that I built the antibodies. I don't take vaccines. So there's probably a 100% chance that I am immune from the motherfucker. But this kid was interesting. And he's the kid that tipped me off, that made me realize that people are not being cunts. These guys, he lives in a squat. He lives out, he lives here to there, and he's saying people are not being dicks. People stop being dicks in New York, man. What's going to happen? No dick. It's crazy, man. It's crazy times. Right? It's just crazy, man. And I almost feel ashamed. I feel like, I don't want to knock people who lost their jobs and their life's work. But for me, this is a canvas. New York City is now an epic, all of America, all of the world is now an epic canvas to talk about the people reintegrating and socializing again. Maybe they're doing it for the first time. That's why they're scared to come out of the house. A lot of people are scared to come out of the house, I'm telling you. is that they don't know how to socialize. They're physically out of shape. They don't. Their hair isn't right. They don't know how to act unless they're the boss or the subordinate worker. They don't know how to just interact with people. I walk around the park and I interact with people. Sometimes people tell me go fuck myself, and sometimes people are open, and that's just a lot, right? Like these kids were open to talking, and I think that people in this downtime are realizing that they don't really have the social skills to go out the door and talk and mingle unless it's in a bar, an expensive bar with their kind of people. They can't even find their people. They can't just, their people are the rich cocksuckers or the clicks and grooves in New York. I know I'm rambling a little bit, but I'm trying to figure it out, right? And I think that a lot of people are fearful, and this kid kind of made me aware, talking to him, that there was something to people lightening up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And then we met Eric. Eric was in the park with his yellow vest on. Eric is a watcher of the show. If you're there, Eric, thank you so much. And I didn't watch the replay of this because I ran out of time. But we were talking. There was, and we were just talking about. I was mostly talking about is the virus a blessing in disguise? So watch this, and we talked to this lady. There was some old lady. I haven't watched it yet. Yeah, we talked to this lady. She was kind of interesting. I don't remember what she said.
Not Trump.
Are you more afraid, or are you following the instructions?
I'm following the instructions. I'm over 80, so I don't want to get sick.
They scared the hell out of you on TV, right? Telling you 80 years old you're gonna die if you catch it.
Yeah,
it sucks, right?
Basically, but I try not to work too much.
I was just asking her, like she's 80. That means like she's on the death list. She's on the hit list. She gets the virus. So people are lightening up a bit. She still kept a distance. She's wearing a mask outside because the TV set told her, you're 80 years old. If you catch the virus, you're going to fucking die. They're going to stick a tube up your nose and kill you. Right? So she's still a little afraid. But so that's the work right now. The work is to crack the people in New York City and see what's going on in their mind. And, as a side note, let's figure out if it's a plan or not. We don't know yet. We don't know, but it's likely that it's some rich, some oligarchs playing a game. It's like a board game, right? It's like a board game, right? That kid in the punk rock kid said, nothing's stopping me from taking a shit on the street. I was like, well, that's interesting that you say that. Like nothing's stopping his sarcastic behavior, his outspoken behavior. And as I said, billionaires, I believe, are the same way. And they see joy in other people's pain, making people wear stupid masks. Let's get them sick, and then we'll sell them a virus. Not too sick, just sick enough to scare the hell out of them. Now, is that psychotic? Are those psychopaths that are doing that? Yeah, they are. But do they exist? Yeah, they do. Right? Look at the banks that sink entire countries. They sunk like Goldman Sachs sinks Greece. And do they care about the social ramification of their actions? No, they don't care. All they care about is corporate profits, profit. So maybe something is changing. So, and here you go. Here's some evidence. Zero Hedge writes, 1/3 of Americans will remain in quarantine even if instructed to get back to normal life and work. Why? Why will 1/3 of Americans remain in quarantine? Is it fear? I don't know. Let's read. Last week, we pointed out perhaps the most critical distinction as the U.S. begins the long and arduous process of recovering from the coronavirus pandemic, that voluntary lockdowns are worse than official ones, as they can't be turned off by fiat, the fiat currency. Because as Rabanks, some jerk-off, said, if people stay at home away, the economy will not recover as... Stay at home anyway, excuse me. If people stay home anyway, the economy will not recover as hoped. Yeah, that's what usually happens if you keep fucking people locked down. Or we get a new economy. We get a new robust economy. People look around them and say, I don't like what I was doing, but I like what I'm doing now, and maybe I can make a living doing what I'm doing now. Why do I have to go sit in a cubicle for fucking 12 hours a day around miserable people? Why can't I stay in my nice, place and invent and create and make a living doing what I like to do, right? You know how that happens again? It's a lot of people, though. A lot of people are going to be scrounging. Not everybody's like that. I know. That's the hippy-dippy, everybody's an artist opinion, but you do see what I'm saying, right? People are getting a taste of freedom. They're getting a taste of freedom. They what is they're in the rat race. They're climbing the ladder, climb that motherfucking ladder. That corrupt ladder, fake elections. We don't have elections anymore in this country. Elections are a thing of the past. It's crazy, right? It's 1984 shit, right? Elections. Oh yeah, we used to have those. You remember when we used to have elections and people would go to the electing, the booth and pick a candidate, and whoever got the most votes won, and they would become the representative. That shit. Remember when that used to happen? It's not like that anymore. It's just a bunch of billionaires that buy off the elections, right? They buy it. Who they give the money to. Whoever has the most money wins. Right? Everything it's all rigged, right? No more free elections. So that's the thing of the past. So staggering, right? Staggering. A third of the country. This is it. So yeah, remaining 31% of people said, according to this chart, 31% will remain in quarantine. 38% will resume normal activity. 11% will resume most normal activities. 14% will resume all normal activities, and 5% are not yet decided. 31% of the population will remain in quarantine. That is fucking staggering. That is a staggering statistic, man. So listen to this. This is the title of the video. This video. I know I didn't really talk about it, but I actually stole the title. The worst is yet to come. Contact tracing, immunity cards, and mass testing. Now, I'm not discounting. People are happier now. Can they overcome these things? These contact tracing, the immunity. Listen to some of this. Listen to some of what the future has to hold for us. No one gets spared the anguish, fear, and heartache of living under the shadow of an authoritarian police state. That's what it is. We're living in an authoritarian police state. A governor says, shut your business, put a mask on, stay 6 feet away from everybody, and you have to do it by penalty of law. Your business is going to get whacked with a $10,000 fine, and a bunch of angry cops wearing masks is going to come in there and drag you out and arrest you and nail your door shut. You can't open until the Department of Health comes in 2027. They put you out of business. That's a police state. That's the message being broadcasted 24/7 with every new piece of government propaganda, every new law that criminalizes otherwise lawful activity, every new policeman on the beat, every new surveillance camera casting a watchful eye, every sensationalist news story that titillates and distracts, every new prison or detention center built to house troublemakers and other undesirables, every new court rule that gives government agents a green light to strip and steal and rape and ravage the citizenry, every school that opts to indoctrinate rather than educate, and every new justification for why Americans should comply with the government's attempt to trample the Constitution underfoot. That's some good writing right there, man. I'm envious of that, man. It's well written, man. Let's give the guy credit, man. Who wrote that shit? Who fucking wrote that, man? Dude, man, you got your finger on the pulse. Dude. John Whitehead at the Rutherford Institute wrote that for Zero Hedge. Yes, COVID-19 has taken a significant toll on the nation emotionally, physically, and economically, but there are still greater dangers on the horizon. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that, it's like, I think that if the psychology of the people if that changes and people become more gentle and more kind and more open, they'd be in a better position than a better position to confront the oligarchy, like rather than the angry protest. And I was critical of the protests earlier in New York when 20 brave souls went out and confronted the police in the City Hall Park, and literally an army of police came in. Over 100 cops were in the park or around the park, paddy wagons, zip ties, the whole thing. And there was, and that's not the way to go. I don't believe that that's the way to go. I believe a spiritual awakening, a light switch goes off where all people, not just 20 brave souls ready to take a hammer on the head, taking one for the team. I just think that's the fundamental wrong way to go. So I don't know what I was trying to say there, but I was trying to say something. So yes, coronavirus has taken a significant toll. It has. All right. So anyway, that was a nice little reading that we are heading towards a totalitarian, a 1984, thing with these, with all these new laws and speaking of laws, look at this thing. I found this shit. Somebody sent this to me. I forgot who sent it to me. But thank you very much if you're watching. Sent this to me. The state of New York in the assembly. Look at the date, January 9, 2019. January 9, 2019. Huh? So this is before. This is a year before the pandemic. A full fucking year. Remember, January 2020 is when we started to see COVID-19 in this country. But a full, whole 365 days before that, this was published at the highest level of the New York State Assembly. This is staggering right here, right? This is, I should have made the whole show about this, but I didn't. But listen to this. So introduced by this assembly guy, read some of this. People of the state of New York, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1, the following public health law is amended by adding a new section, 2120A, to read as follows. A, removal and detention of cases, contacts, and carriers who are or may be a danger to public health. Other orders. Wow. Number 1, provisions of this section shall be utilized in the event that the governor declares a state of health emergency due to an epidemic of any communicable diseases. Why would they do this? Why on earth would the assembly be doing this fucking memo if it wasn't planned? Why? I don't know. Why was this on the books a year before, and now it's law? It's law. In New York, it's law. It's not even like they have to make up the laws. They already have the law. Now they're just enforcing the law, right? And removal and detention of cases, contacts and carriers who are or may be a danger to public health. May be you mean walking 10 feet away from somebody without a mask on? Is that maybe? Or you sneeze in public and they want to arrest you? So it's a sketchy law. It's 1984 shit, to be honest with you. Upon determining by clear and convincing evidence that the health of others is or may be endangered by a case, contact, or carrier, or suspected carrier. A suspected carrier. Suspected. We suspect you. We're stopped, sir. Sir, pull over. Sir, pull over, please. You're being pulled over. This is the New York State Police Department. You're being pulled over. Pull over your car and keep your hands on the steering wheel. You're being accused. You're suspect of being sick. You're suspect of being sick. Please step out of your car. Please step out of the car. And we need to, and turn around, drop your drawers, turn around, and we're going to take your temperature. We're going to take your anal fucking temperature. Right? Is that reality? Is that reality? Are you a carrier? You may be a carrier, suspected of being a carrier of this contagious, horrible disease that doesn't have even a little more deaths than the common flu, that more people die of heart attacks and every other fucking thing. Am I reading it right? Do I have the right read on this? Because this is law. I'm going to go through a little more of this. Thanks again, whoever sent this. Limited the commission, right? So it gives all authority to the people. Suspected carrier, right? All right. You are a witch. We suspect. Right. Same thing with like the Salem. Thanks in the comments, man. I can't read right now. That's why I'm not reading. Good morning, everybody. Weevil Boy. Good morning. Weevil Boy in the house. Linda Chapman in the house. Willie Diggs. Jason Walsh. Chris Mike. Sterling Price is in the house. Vinny DiMartini on the wrench. Don't be a dick in the chats, all right? Don't be a dick. There's not a lot of dickery going on right now, and you can thank Vinny and Sterling Price for that lack of dickery, because people, when you're a dick, you get timed out, and people don't like that. They feel like a bigger dick. Oh, I got timed out, and then they come crying to me, and then or they got blocked because they were a dick times 2. They were a dick 2.0. So you get timed out for 300 seconds if you're a dick, and if you get blocked, that means that's dick 2.0. And you sit in the box until I have to go find your name in the box and get rid of it. Or maybe not. Maybe sit there for a while. Maybe suffer. Fucking suffer in your silence. So, good morning, everybody, man. So, what else we got here? What else we got before we hit the trail? So, opposing lockdown is not profits before people. This is good. Here's some water before I talk about this. So, opposing a lockdown, that's what we're doing. If you're watching this show and you're still here, I oppose the lockdown. I oppose the notion of being locked down and not having freedom of choice to to protect myself from whatever. Right? My constitutional right for freedom, liberty, and justice for all. That stuff. The Constitution, protection under the Constitution. Right? I oppose the thing that suppresses all that stuff. I oppose the lockdown. And that's not to say that I'm putting profits before people, because that would be ridiculous. That would be ridiculous. I'm not saying we've got to open the economy and people will get sick and so what? I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying open the economy and less people will get sick, and you'll have a lot less the things, this new phenomena of increased alcoholism, increased drug abuse, maybe not use, but abuse, and millions of people overeating, not exercising, not coming out of their home, not talking to people. That's not what I'm not talking about. I'm just looking at the title. I don't oppose the lockdown, and I don't think anybody here does either, because we're putting profits before people. That's important, right? So listen to this. Ever since the UK entered lockdown, those pushing for it to end have been labeled callous, selfish, or accused of putting profits before people. That's true. That's very, very true. Even walking with the mask experiment, walking without a mask, people look at you like you're selfish, like you're endangering the public welfare by not wearing a mask. No, I am equipped with the facts. I am not sick. I am not contagious in any way whatsoever. And you don't appear to be either. If I see a sick person, I might actually take out a mask and put it on, or I'll distance myself at this time, because there still is a slight question mark. There's still some, better safe than sorry thing working in all of us, and it works in me all day long. I still wipe the handlebars of my bike with an alcohol rag that I carry. I still keep my hands clean. When I think I touch something, especially my shoes. If I tie my shoes or I touch my shoes, because you're walking in a public bathroom and you're walking and walking, I'll do a hand wash. Before I eat, I'll do an alcohol hand wash. I'm still doing those things. And but that's not. I feel like I should have been doing those things anyway. But does that make me? Does it make me calloused and selfish to be out and be free and to not be wearing a mask on a beautiful sunny day, 60-degree day with clean air in New York City? How many people miss the trees? New York is one of the most beautiful. You don't think of it as beautiful, the parks and the naturalness, like the park that I go to around here, and you see the cherry blossom trees, the tulips are blooming. How many people miss that? They miss the fucking cherry blossoms in New York. Prospect Park, beautiful, beautiful botanical gardens full of cherry blossom trees in Central Park. All around the city, there's cherry blossom trees. Everybody missed it. I didn't miss it. I photographed it. I take pictures of flowers. That's like a hobby. I don't publish any of that, but I take pictures with my phone. I take close-up shots of colorful, bleeding, colorful flowers as they pop. Right, the cherry blossoms, the tulips, any flower that has some color, I'll take a picture of. And how many people miss that? They miss that out of fear. That's psychologically damaging. That's damaging. You missed the beauty in the world around you, and you were confined in your house, man. That's sad, man. You're gonna need COVID-19 support groups, right? Like 12-step programs to bring people back into life, right? I was a hermit. I was a recluse. My name is Marcus, and I was a recluse for 3 months, and I don't know how to act. I need your help. I need help. Imagine. I'm not goofing on AA or NA. That shit saves people's lives. But we may need more in terms of mental health, because you certainly can't rely on doctors and the fucking people running this show to tell us how to react. They'll say, "Oh, you're fine. Get back to work." Right? And if you don't, we'll come over there and beat you on the head with a hammer. "Oh, you look sick. We're gonna come and stick a tube up your ass and take your temperature and suck out a sample and put it in a lab." So the lockdown has been eased, apparently. Some people should go back to work. Schools might be open. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know what they're talking about anymore. But opposing lockdown is not profit for people. It's not profit over people. It's using what you know. It's doing a deep dive. That's another thing. People have time on their hands, right? People that ordinarily don't have time on their hands, maybe, just maybe they're working the internet, and maybe they found my show, or they found, not Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore is all virus right now. He's scared shit, hasn't come out of his house. But people that are on the correct side of it, some of the doctors that we cited, Dr. Judy, Dr. Erickson and his partner in California, Dr. Seidel, the guy told us that the intubation breathing tubes is killing people. I said it a month before he said it, but he's a doctor and he gets the credit for it. But maybe people are exploring new media. Maybe they're exploring some of the progressive media, like secular talk, Kyle Kalinske, and they found out that the elections really are rigged. Well, they found Lee Camp, and they realized that the elections really are rigged. Well, they found my channel, and they realized that there's nobody in the hospitals. There's no dead bodies in those trucks, right? And the elections are fake. They rig it. Maybe people are experimenting a little bit. Maybe they're stepping out of their comfort zones online, and they're not just listening to fucking CNN and fucking MSNBC over and over again, and Fox over and over again with the lies, bombarded with the same propaganda lies over and over again. Hate Russia, hate China. So here's another one. So here's good news. Wisconsin Supreme Court blocked extensions of coronavirus shutdown. Now that's good, right? We should be happy about that. That's a good thing. That's a good thing right there. So Wisconsin doing the right thing to extend the shutdown. Let's see. I didn't read this. Wisconsin Supreme Court on Wednesday blocked an extension of the state's coronavirus stay-at-home order. Good. Governor Tony Evers' administration overstepped its authority when it pushed the shutdown to May 26. So they're still technically shut down. The court found it in a ruling, 4-3 ruling. Good. The decision does not immediately invalidate the order. Bad. So it'll keep going. The court's majority agreed to keep the shutdown in place until May 20th to give legislators and blah blah blahs more time. Right. So what this says is that if you litigate against the lockdown, you could probably win. So if anybody's willing to challenge Cuomo here in New York, although I don't know Wisconsin politics, but New York is highly corrupt, and the chances of finding a judge that would rule this way and say that the executive order by the governor of the state is technically illegal, and whatever terminology they used, and you got to open up. It's time to open up. So, but it's a good step. It's a step in the right direction. Is what I think. So they're scrambling to get a virus tester. Abbott's rapid coronavirus test misses nearly half of positive cases. Studies found half misses half of positive cases. Oh, this is the Hill reporting. This is the Hill reporting, and the Hill reporting wants you to believe that there are more cases than there really are. More. And that's probably true. That's probably true that there are more cases than we know of. For example, sitting in the park yesterday, we discovered 3 that had identical systems around the same time. Me and those 2 kids sitting in the park all had it. Am I part of the statistic? No. No one ever asked me. I never took a test. I haven't seen a doctor through this whole thing. So nobody would know my information is nowhere on the record unless you're watching my YouTube video. And that's not conclusive. There's a degree of speculation in that. So anyway, but this thing is a piece of shit, right? A rapid coronavirus diagnostic test manufactured by Abbott may miss nearly half of all positive infections. There's a lot of. It's just an article that tells you that there's a lot of misinformation. The tests aren't right. The tests are created to create the illusion that there's less cases than there actually are, and then you got these CDC, other agencies pushing to say no, there's more cases, we need more vaccines, we need more research, we need more testing, we need more surveillance, we need more authoritarianism. So something to watch. Because if I could get a coronavirus test, I wouldn't want to test for coronavirus because it would be negative. But if they have the test for the antibody that you can do it yourself, right? Like one of the mail-in things. You draw some blood, you put it on, you put the sample in an envelope, and you mail it out, and then you dial a phone number maybe like 5 days later. So you send the sample to the lab, so it's a little more official. Or you can get an instant test. That would be cool. But if you can't do that, and it requires lab, so bleed a little bit into a vial and send that blood to a lab. That sounds sanitary, right? Sending blood through the mail. Well, I'm sure they give you the right envelope to send it, so it's medically sealed. And you send your blood off, and then a few days later, you dial a phone number, and it comes out either positive or negative. Do you have the antibody or not? I think they used to do that with AIDS, man. That would be scary. You pick up the phone and you dial. It says you're positive for AIDS. You're gonna die. Especially early on, man. That'd be scary shit. So what else? So airplanes. Why airplanes are still packed in the coronavirus pandemic and is flying still safe? Flying is safe, bro. It's still safe. It's still safe. Get on the plane if you got to go somewhere. Despite the ongoing coronavirus pandemic and social distancing guidelines advising people stay 6 feet apart, I've been walking around my rule. I haven't really filmed it because it doesn't stay open. It bends at 6 feet. 6 feet is so far away that the ruler it won't stay straight. It flops. It wilts. It goes like this. It goes. It gets a softy on it. Right? So. But I'm still challenging that 6 feet thing when I'm walking around. So despite the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, social distancing guidelines advise people stay 6 feet apart. Reports of terrified airline passengers on packed flights continues to emerge. Interesting. I've seen a lot of pictures, not here, but pictures of people packed. Right there, there are 3 seats in a row, and every seat is taken. There's no social distancing going on. You're touching the person next to you inadvertently. People are coughing, choking. They're eating they're eating fucking nuts. They're eating a sandwich. Right? Germs exchanging no matter how you look at it. Right? So should we be scared of that? I think if you've been in your house for 3 months without sticking your head out for fresh air, you should be scared of that situation, because being socially so close to people will drive you out the fucking window. You'd be like, all right, stop the plane. I'm getting off, right? Because you're not used to being around people. A psychological ramification, the fear of being around so many people so close. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know what people think. I mean, I would fly when things are. It just doesn't pay. It doesn't make sense to travel places, and nothing is open, and nothing is, everything is stuck. That's a different thing to see. I mean, but I'm doing that here in New York. Why do I want to go somewhere else right now when I'm in New York? See New York and document it. Right? Document the stillness and when it opens. What else is going on? Missed another funny story. Lockdown flaunting speakeasies popping up throughout Manhattan. Ooh. I got to go on the prowl for this. But you know what? I'm probably not dressed right, and I don't know the right people, and I probably won't find one. But speakeasies are back in New York, and not the tourist traps that have been filling perfectly good storage spaces in the backs of bodegas, pizzerias, and pet stores across Williamsburg for a decade, but actual illicit drinking dens. Ooh, wow. Page 6 told us that a famous Upper East Side bar and lounge, as well as a trendy downtown hotel, have been opening up in spite of the corona lockdown, but strictly for discreet friends of the owners and managers. Ah, damn. So right there is evidence that the wealthy and the well-connected and people that have, I don't know, I own a couple of restaurants, so let's have a party. We'll lock the door. No one's allowed in. We'll keep the lights dim, and we're gonna have a private party. See, regular people can't do that because you can't. All right, you fill up your apartment, and then the idiot next door calls and says, "Oh, there's a party going on," and the social distance police come and break it up. But it is interesting that speakeasies are popping up. Right? There's probably a lot more of that going on than we know, right? Because the people that are doing it certainly are not going to advertise, and it's not going to get out to the New York Post. No one's going to go, because then it's over. Right? De Blasio and the jerk-offs will come down, and they'll, cop will come in, have a drink, and then they'll pull out the badge and they shut the place down. Right? For what? For being social? It's crazy times, man. So Mark's Conte reporting. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we'll step out on the trail soon and see what the hell's going on, man. See what's going on. First, we'll listen to some more people. So that's my assessment. That is my assessment, ongoing assessment. The biggest problem is going to be overall is the lack of an economy, really. The lack of a functioning economy. But what are the mental ramifications of this virus on people? Will they fundamentally change? Are there signs that people will become better people or more? Will empathy reign? Will there actually be empathetic people in the world, in this city, and in this country where the state of business, some people may say, you know what, I sold bad stocks to rich widows, and I feel terrible about that, but I gotta make money, right? Maybe some people that work for crooked banks, right, for example, may decide, like, I can't do that anymore. Like, I can't go back to that lifestyle. That's my hope. That's what this reporter is hoping. This reporter who's also a musician, hopes that's what it comes down to, and that's what young people start listening to. Let's listen to some
great
more.
as well. So let's share that with.
What's that? Thanks everybody for joining me. Freebird. Played that yesterday. Ah man, get with it. Yesterday's yesterday. Freebird was yesterday, man. Think something that you never heard before. Think something you never heard before, George's son. You don't know who these people are, man. This is war paint. Turning you on to something that you never heard before. Don't you put your guard down and stop talking about Freebird and listen to the... When have you ever seen a chick play a Rickenbacker bass like that? It's so sexy. Listen to the point. You're missing the point. You're not listening. Learn how to listen. Comment on this or that. Beautiful. Listen to the funk. Listen to the drummer in the bass. Beautiful. Peace, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Warpaint live on KEXP.
Never